This is the last call for voting. Don't let it be the last call for democracy. Florida is likely less than a week away from dropping all pretense of being a purple state and just being red. In this week's SFGN, online and on stands tomorrow, I look at how Democrats are storming the state to stop all of that from happening, as evidenced by President Biden's visit to South Florida yesterday. These past few weeks, I've spent a lot of time at the Get Out the Vote Center in the heart of Wilton Drive. Today, former and possibly future Governor Charlie Crist stopped by to kickstart enthusiasm and erase voter apathy. Senate candidate Val Demings came by previously to deliver a powerful speech. And over the weekend, CFO candidate Adam Hattersley told me, quote, "If people knew the effects of these offices that they have on their daily, day-to-day lives, there's no way they'd vote in a single incumbent back to Tennessee." He's right. So-called conservatives passed a $1 billion tax increase. They routinely meddle in local politics and are intimately inserting themselves into personal health decisions. Republicans aren't conservatives, they're authoritarians, and they're probably going to win in a landslide. As Democrats make their closing arguments, you can read my interviews in SFGN online and on stands tomorrow. And if enough of us vote, just maybe we'll be having a different conversation next week at this time. And boy, I tell you, the numbers just look so bad. The early voting numbers in South Florida are not meeting what they need to be. I haven't seen one poll yet that shows Crist anywhere near a lead, although today, and I think you said it dropped last night, but today he was referencing a poll that said he was up by 6 points, and I just haven't seen it. The Real Clear Politics average shows him down an average of 12.3 in each poll. So, I mean, it's not even going to, it won't even be close by national standards, much less Florida close.
I'm curious in terms of the article that you've done for South Florida Gay News. I was with you today at the Get Out the Vote Center for Congressman Crist, his presentation to the LGBT community. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz introduces him. Dean Trentelis, Mayor of Fort Lauderdale, introduces her. I mean, they pulled out the heavyweights today for Wilton Drive. But to your point, and in your article, in terms of what the early turnouts are and what's going on, where has this been going awry? We are all advocates in one way or another, whether it be media or the National Task Force or various different things we've done that we do. Where is it going awry of why we haven't been able to motivate and galvanize the LGBTQ community?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back 2 years. The seeds for this devastating loss were sown in the 2020 election. Governor DeSantis has been able to really be a bully for the last 2 years. Redistricting, Carlos Guillermo Smith is in a tight race, in a race that used to be very easy. And there's just not a lot of enthusiasm. What the LGBTQ plus community specifically, we feel safe with marriage.
We're
it's
delusional.
easier. We're delusional.
Absolutely.
But it's easy to to say, we've got marriage and we're going to be okay.
And the fact that
it's just depressing.
And the fact that people still think that our marriage rights won't be taken away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, literally, people are delusional, boys. Like, they really don't think, oh, no, they won't touch us. We'll be okay. No, they're not going to go that far. Yeah. And with every day, with every breath, these guys go farther and farther and farther.
And I think that, just one last point on your question now, I think people have just sort of been knocked around and abused to the point where in this cycle that they're just afraid to speak up at this point because the governor's voice is loud and powerful.
Yeah.
Look, I know healthcare workers that are afraid to vote and be seen voting because they think that Governor DeSantis is going to come after their licenses, Al. These are just folks just trying to get by.
People think that, when it comes to losing rights and privileges, that it's all going to happen in one foul swoop, but it's not.
Yeah.
We die by paper cuts, little cuts, nicks here and there, and that's exactly what's been happening over the past 2 years. And if we don't wake up and pay attention, you're exactly right. We are going to wake up one day, and your marriage, my marriage, if I ever get married, won't mean the same or won't be legally recognized anymore. And also, speaking more broadly about Florida in general, the Democrats' challenge right now is we don't have a strong state Democratic Party that is doing the necessary groundwork to to be able to compete. Voter registration has been terrible on the Democratic side for years. Several organizations, mostly third-party organizations, are trying very hard, working very hard to address that. But frankly, unless you have a party that is able and willing to go out there and organize, talk to voters, talk to them about why they should register as a Democrat, then what you end up with is declining voter registration numbers and NPA voters, and that's exactly what we're seeing now.
One last question. So to the crystal ball that, one day we're going to wake up. Let's assume that that day is next Wednesday, 1 week from today. And we wake up and John's article projection comes true. I hope it doesn't, but it comes true. What is the LGBTQ community going to say next Wednesday? What's our reaction going to be?
We should be burning houses. We should be overturning cars. We should be saying, hey, you know what? Life without gays. We're not going to do shit. Okay, excuse my French. We're not going to do anything. All right? But we won't do that.
No.
We won't.
What will the reaction be? Oh, what time does happy hour start?
Oh, God, John, that is awful.
It's really bad. I mean, don't you think that maybe there will be more day of people showing up to vote? You're saying that the advanced voting isn't the early voting, but what about day of?
The trend is holding up with the percentages of people who are voting. So we can't expect a large surge on the last day because we've been seeing the decrease. It's a midterm, but we've been seeing decreased apathy even by midterm, and there's really no reason to think in Florida, which is so used to and has led the way on early voting, that people are ever going to just show up in bulk on the one day.
Are the owners of these happy hour bars you're talking about, are they encouraging their customers?
No.
To just take a few minutes out and go vote?
We just had Wicked Manners. We were talking about this before we came on the air. Fabulous event. Fabulous Halloween event. Let's assume that the PR numbers are true, that an estimated 40,000 people came. Every business in Wilton Manors participated in one way or another in Wicked Manners. All of the major bars, major staging. You couldn't ask for anything more for Halloween. There is no reference that there was an election going on 7 days later, exactly 7 days later. There was no reference to it. There's no signage of it. There's no video messaging. There's no candidates present. There is no, you need to vote 7 days from now. There was nothing. Zero. So 40,000, principally LGBT, in the heart of one of the greatest LGBTQ communities in America, and there was no reference to the election.
What a lost opportunity.
The LGBTQ community is going to have to go back to square one, back to our roots of organizing ourselves in houses. We're going to have to wake up on Wednesday morning, regardless of what the election happens in the election, and decide what are we willing to do to fight for and advance for our lives, our rights. For some people that'll be, getting involved in organizations like the National LGBTQ Task Force, SAVE, HRC, joining a local party, whatever you need to do, whatever you feel like you can do to make a difference, that's what we have to do.
Inaction is not action.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It isn't.
And Ryan, back to one point you made during your first comment about lamenting if you ever get married or not. Give me a call.
Are you really hitting on him during this? Are you really? Did he really just do that, Al?
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+ community.